Alrighty, y'all. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. We on late tonight. Had a migraine I couldn't get rid of. I'm also waiting for this food delivery from Amazon. They're supposed to be here between 9 and 11, and it just shipped. It's supposed to be here between 9 and 11, and it just shipped. So that's why you can't depend on things. All right, it says out for delivery. Oh, they one stop away. Well, hold on a second, Nelly. Hold the presses there, Nelly. Says it's out for delivery. They say they one stop away. They actually they in they down there by Locust Point. Point Breeze, Brewers Hill. So alrighty. Well, they on the way. Welcome to the show, everybody. How's your day? Before I get started, I watched the show back from yesterday. I watched a little bit of it, and we need an Ethernet cord. We need an Ethernet cord because the router is too far away from. It's in the bedroom. I asked the cable man, could he make the wire longer because I want to be able to use the PC, in the living room to be able to run the show. He assured me that it would work, that I didn't need to. But we keep freezing. And that freezing is because the Wi-Fi connection from the bedroom to out here is being blocked by the walls. Last place we only had actually two walls. The wall that closed the bathroom and the wall between the kitchen and the staircase. The staircase came upstairs in between the bathroom and the kitchen. And we had a big common room, so there wasn't no wall. So obviously the data is having a hard time coming from the bedroom out here because the show kept freezing. And we have Xfinity. Yes, it's the $10 plan, but still, we have high speed internet. 60 gigs down and 10 gigs up. So we have internet. Okay? We have internet. So we need now if y'all don't care about the freezing, then we don't need nothing. Because y'all always say we always need something. If y'all are satisfied with the show freezing, then don't even worry about it. But the cable only costs $10.99. I looked on Amazon. If somebody know where we can get a 75-foot Ethernet cord for less than $10.99, I'll be glad to be all ears for it. If y'all don't care, then don't worry about it. That simple. Our topic today. A man said years ago, why can't we all get along? Y'all have heard that phrase. Why can't we get along? Well, it's 2022. Why is it that we still can't get along? That's our topic for today. Why can't we get along? Anybody have any opinions as to why we can't seem to get along with each other? I can give you my thoughts, and we'll look at some thoughts from some scholars. But I want to know, what is your thought? There is the link if anybody want to comment on this topic. What's the reason we can't get along? Well, we already know the reason we can't get along is because the majority of us have separated from God. God's first command is to love him and Jesus with all your heart. His second command is to love your neighbor with all your heart. Second. Are we doing that? No, we not. We not doing that when we robbing each other. We not doing that when we pushing each other in front of the subway train. We not doing that when we cheating and stepping on people to get that promotion, to get the job. We not doing that when we sell our kids out so that we can go do the selfish things that we want to do, and we let the TV raise them or the streets raise them, as they say. We got away from God and His direction for us, His plan for us. And that's the reason why we can't get along. We are feeding our fleshly state. When I say fleshly, I mean what the body wants. Whether it be fine dining, whether it be fooling around, whether it be drinking and califorting, whether it be violence, whatever you out there chasing, you're going to clash with somebody that's chasing the same thing or that's chasing the opposite. Like two bulls colliding. You will collide with somebody that want the same thing you want, or somebody who don't want nothing you want. I want to introduce the word of today. The word of today is tolerate. Do we tolerate each other? I'm asking. Do we tolerate each other? If somebody wants to do what you don't feel like doing, do you go along with them so that when you want to do something, they'll return the favor and tolerate what you want to do? When somebody tells you to stop doing something that it bothers them, that they make you want to do it more to irritate them and to make your point. Why is it that we can't seem to tolerate each other? Why is it that we can't get along? Whether you're in school, you can't get along with your classmates. Whether you're in a sports bar, you like this team, they like that team. Y'all in there fighting over a team. None of y'all make any money off the team, but y'all in there fighting over a team. Whether or not the team win, what that do for you? But there are people out there fighting in the stands of the game. You paid the money to watch the game, but the people ain't watching the game. They watching you argue and fight. You ever watch anything from Europe? The people over there, they watch the boxing and the wrestling and the rugby. They don't watch the game. They go there and sing, hey, yada, hey, yo, yeah, 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 yo, hey, yeah, hey, yeah, hey, hey, yo. The people that's trying to watch the game, do they appreciate the people that's making all that noise? If you go to the movie theater, there's always somebody talking in the movie theater. You trying to hear the movie, but you gotta listen to this person's commentary. Instead of them getting, a platform and going and telling people about the movie afterwards, they got to talk to you during the movie. To the people that just want to listen to the movie, they have to be tolerant, or else it's going to be a fight. Would you not agree? Why isn't that we not tolerant of each other, even on social media? I guarantee you, some of you that live in an apartment building, there's somebody you having a grievance against. To those of you that live in single family homes, somewhere on your block, there's somebody you got a problem with, or they got a problem with you. Why is it that everybody seems to have a problem with someone? Even here on social media, you almost can't get nobody to watch you unless you got a problem with somebody. You just can't come on and be yourself. No, you got to be in some kind of feud, right? You got to have an issue with somebody. Yes, I'm drinking water. So I asked the question, why can't we get along? What keeps dividing us? Why can we be so hot and angry and bothered by somebody else? What are we lacking? I say it's separation from God. Would anybody like to give their opinion? Why do you think that we can't get along? Anybody have any comments before we move on? Anybody? I told you what I thought. What do you think? There's 7 of y'all here. Okay. I didn't want to make this, because Bible study's tomorrow, but I thought we'd bring this topic up. 1 Corinthians 6, 1 to 20. Thought we'd start out with a Bible verse. When one of you has a grievance against another, does he dare go to the law before the unrighteous instead of the saints? When one of you has a grievance, a problem with another person, do you go to the law before the unrighteous instead of the saints? That's a good question. Because I know on social media, people go to the unrighteous to state their grievances. They don't go to the calm people with their grievances. Instead, they go to the people that's going to make things worse, the people that's not godly, the people that's not going to have a level head and say, hey, I know why you mad with that person, but that mad person got a point. That's not what they want to hear. They want to hear somebody go, rah, 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 go get him, go get him. You right, go get him. That's what they want to hear. Why do they go before the unrighteous instead of the saints? Because the saints is going to tell them, why are you wasting your time with this foolishness? That's why they don't go. And that's why somebody came here and left that quick. Because they're looking for the foolishness. This is boring to them. Well, have fun wherever you go. Hope you don't step into no conflict. Let's continue. Why did that person go to the law before the unrighteous instead of the saints? Or do you not know that the saints will judge the world? And if the world is to be judged by you, are you competent to try trivial cases? Do you not know that we are judge angels? How much more then matters pertaining to this life? So if you have such cases, why do you lay them before those who have no standing in the church? I say this to your shame. Can it be there's not one among you wise enough to settle a dispute between the brothers? But brother goes to law against brother, and that before unbelievers. Hold on a second. What the scripture saying? Scripture is saying one day in paradise, you are going to be holding court and judging the angels. That's the kind of power we're going to have when we reach paradise. But down here on earth, we can't even judge each other. We don't even have the sense to take our case to a believer in Christ, a believer in God. We take our case to the ungodly. How does that make sense? How do you expect the ungodly to settle a case between two people who supposedly follow Christ? But brother goes to law against brother, and that before unbelievers. To have lawsuits at all with one another is already a defeat for you. Why not rather suffer wrong? Why not rather be defrauded? But you yourselves wrong and defraud even your own brothers. Why do you take your case before non-believers? Why do you accuse your brother before unbelievers? The fact that two Christians can't sit together and settle a dispute on their own, that you need help to do it. Why do you go to the people that need help more than you do to solve it? Let them marinate. Why not quietly suffer the wrong? Why not rather be defrauded? When you yourself wrong and defraud your brothers all the time. Or do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived. Neither the sexually immoral, nor the idolaters, nor adulterers, nor men who practice homosexuality, nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor swindlers will inherit the kingdom of God. And such were some of you, but you were washed, you were sanctified, you were justified in the name of Lord Jesus Christ and by the Spirit of God. We looked at this verse because I asked the question again, why can't we get along? We can't get along because we've gotten further away from God. We can't get along because we don't handle our issues between each other. Instead, we take our issues to people who shouldn't have any kind of control or impact on what's going on between two believers. Why do you take your issues and seek help from people that don't believe what you believe? Why do you take your issue to the street? Why do you take your issue to the courthouse? Those people don't believe what you believe. So why do you need them to help you out? Why do you expect them to solve your problems? Why are you trying to follow somebody who don't believe? Why are you expecting to get a better result running to them instead of dealing with your situation like someone should? All right, according to this, the delivery is 2 miles away. I know I ain't that stupid. That downloaded the same thing. Hold on a second. Well, I keep saying redirect notice. All right. I thought I shared this verse with you. Colossians 3:13, 13, 23. Get along with each other and forgive each other. If someone does wrong to you, forgive that person because the Lord forgave you. Can I read that again? Get along with each other and forgive each other. If someone does wrong to you, forgive that person because the Lord forgave you. Did that not make sense? Get along with each other and forgive each other. And forgiving somebody means you forgive it and don't bring it up every 5 minutes. You don't bring it up every time you get mad. If you forgave somebody, forgive is not too far from forgot. You forget it like it never happened. If you expect the Lord to forgive you, why can't you forgive somebody you see every day? Do all these things, but most important, love each other. Love is what holds you all together in perfect unity. Let the peace that Christ gives control your thinking, because you are all called together in one body to have peace. Always be thankful. Let the teaching of Christ live in you richly. Use all wisdom to teach and instruct each other by singing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs with thankfulness in your hearts to God. Everything you do or say should be done to obey Jesus your Lord. And in all you do, give thanks to God the Father through Jesus. Wives, yield the authority of your husbands, because this is the right thing to do in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and be gentle with them. Children, obey your parents in all things, because this pleases the Lord. Fathers, do not nag your children. If you are too hard to please, they may want to stop trying. Slaves, obey your masters in all things. Do not obey just when they are watching you to gain their favor, but serve them honestly because you respect the Lord. And in all the work you are doing, work the best you can. Work as if you were doing it for the Lord, not for people. All right, the driver getting close. I got to give it to him. I might have to order me some more stuff. The driver getting close. Yep, he's getting close. He's trying to see where he is. He's not that far. Oh, it's not letting me move it. Okay. He's getting close. That doorbell should be ringing any minute. Hopefully they ring the bell. Anybody have any comments? He's getting close. Let's see if we can get through this last one here before he arrives. Why can't we all just get along? Many recall the plaintive call of Rodney King, the man whose vicious beating by members of the LA Police Department was caught on video. Mr. King cried out, "Why can't we all just get along?" The reason we cannot always get along seems to be based in part on our brains. Recent advancements in the neurosciences have established an irrefutable fact: human beings are emotional, not rational. Nevertheless, on the strength of Descartes' rationalist philosophy, the Enlightenment opened the doors to modern imperialism and led humanity into the scientific revolution. No one doubted the power of rational thinking to solve problems and unravel the mysteries of the observable universe. From these observations came the belief that humans were distinguished from all other creatures because of their rationality. To be irrational was to be something less than human. This belief deeply influenced English and American law, foreign policy, and economic theory. Legal standards were set by comparison. Wait a minute, I got lost. By comparison to a prototypical rational person. Foreign policy was based on the assumption that our rational beings could sit together and work through their international disputes and conflicts. Economics built an entire field of study on the assumption that consumers acted rationally and maximizing their utility. People engaged in peacemaking from the perspective to the international, from the interpersonal to the international level, assume that despite the emotions of conflict, people fundamentally were rational. The truth is that we are 98% emotional and about 2% rational. Thus, the assumptions underlying many disciplines and practices, especially peacemaking, need significant revisions. Much remains unknown, but the implications of the research so far demonstrate that we must be far more aware of neuropsychological factors of human conflict. These factors explain much about conflict behaviors. They also provide insights about new interventions in serious and intractable conflicts. To understand how our brain deals with conflict, consider a simple emotional model. In this model, conflict starts with some problem. The problem is serious enough to cause anxiety, reflected in the feeling of insecurity. When anxiety or insecurity is first experienced, we have a choice between reactivity and reflection. If we do not make a choice, our default model is to be reactive. By being reactive, we reject the problem. We might reject the problem, give up, or feel inadequate to deal with the problem. If the problem is persistent, we might struggle or exit. As the conflict develops, we perceive it as a threat and we may blame, attack, or withdraw. These behaviors constitute our fear reaction system. I like to call it our self protective system. The brain association with fear reactions are very, very old, dating back to the earliest vertebrate animals. Although highly adaptable in uncertain and dangerous environment of 20,000 years ago, the system is largely maladaptive in our modern complex culture. If the choice for reflection is made and we have learned to reflect, relate, and relax, the insecurity arising from a conflict situation is recognized as pointing to a pathway of growth toward greater peace and self realization. We are led by our curiosity to discover something new, find what is lost, or complete unfinished business. Success leads us to wholeness. authenticity, power, and wisdom. The path, however, is not easy. From anxiety and insecurity, we experience inadequacy. We don't know what to do. And a drop in self esteem. We don't feel good about ourselves. We ride on a broad emotional river and often experience fear of death, a drowning sensation, being shaky or cold. Along this journey, our fear reaction system could pull us off the path of peace. At the end of this emotional drop, we end in a calm pool that represents the essential peace within us. In this state, we hold an unshakable foundation of belief in ourselves. We are authentic. We are present in the moment. We exhibit a full spectrum of self as robust, rainbow colored, and multifaceted. From this place, we can be compassionate, tolerant, exhibit loving kindness, and embrace peace. This is what I have observed many people experiencing as they engage in conflict resolution and achieve peace. These behaviors come from our brain's altruistic cooperative social attachment systems. The social attachment system in the brain controls pair bonding, such as the mother infant dyad, pair bonding, and the formation of families, extended families, and communities. It is a system that allows us to become highly social and create complex, interdependent societies. However, our self protection system will override our altruistic system unless we choose otherwise, because it is not the default choice. Mobilizing the social attachment systems in conflict situations is challenging. The last thing a person wants to feel is altruistic towards her conflict cohort. It has been said to me many times, I don't want to sit around a campfire and sing kumbaya. Yet lasting resolution of difficult conflicts can occur when our brains' altruistic systems are fully operational. Thus, one challenge for peacemaking is to recognize when and why a person's fear system is dominating them, then craft an intervention that will allow the altruistic brain systems to take over. Let me pull the chat up. We have any comments? Nobody? All right then. Let's see what's going on in the world today. Uh, let's start in my city.
Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby addressed a congregation at a Northwest Baltimore church today after being indicted by a federal grand jury last week. Sean Stryker has more and how some are showing their support.
Sunday morning, Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby attended church service where she was asked to speak to those in attendance. Days after being indicted on federal charges, Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby attending service at the Empowerment Temple in Baltimore, taking time to address the congregation.
Without equivocation, I am innocent of the charges levied against me. I have done nothing wrong, and I'm confident that I'll be exonerated and my name will be cleared.
Mosby doubling down on the statement she made Friday, vowing to continue doing her job.
I make that same commitment to you all today.
Thursday, a grand jury indicted Mosby on 4 felony counts, including charges of perjury and making false statements. Federal prosecutors allege she lied about suffering COVID-19 hardships to withdraw money without penalty from her retirement account and falsified information on loan applications for vacation homes in Florida.
We want to surround her with prayer.
Reverend Robert Turner showing his support for Mosby with a prayer circle.
People may ask you, well, why is the church, wrapping their arms around somebody that's just been indicted with these type of crimes? It's because that's what Jesus would do.
Reverend Turner even offered financial support to Mosby, which she declined.
That you protect her.
Mosby says she plans to fight the charges against her. In Baltimore, Sean Stryker for WJZ.
Well, let's stick with this story.
Tonight, we're following developments in Marilyn Mosby's indictment. For the first time, her attorney took questions about the case. He says he wants a quick trial and promised a vigorous defense. WJZ investigator Mike Helgren live in Station North with more on his comments today. Mike.
Max, he defended withdrawals from her retirement account as appropriate and said she had no idea of past federal liens against her. Remember, these charges include perjury and also making false statements on mortgage applications.
I stand with Marilyn Mosby. I stand with Marilyn Mosby.
A. Scott Bolden, the lawyer defending Baltimore State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby against felony federal charges, took aim at the U.S. Attorney's Office for what he called a politically motivated prosecution.
Marilyn Mosby is not the only one that's going to be on trial. The U.S. Attorney's Office for Maryland is going to be on trial. The criminal justice system and its attacks on black female progressive prosecutors is going to be on trial.
And Bolden bristled at the allegations Mosby lied when withdrawing from her 401k, falsely claiming she needed coronavirus relief just to avoid tax penalties. She used the funds to buy 2 Florida vacation homes. He says Mosby was impacted by COVID because of her side businesses, including a travel company, even though Mosby herself wrote previously those businesses were not operational and had yet to generate any revenue.
I'm telling you, those businesses were running, and they were being pursued, and they were legally on the books.
WJZ asked Bolden whether he expected more charges were coming and whether he was surprised at the current charges given the government's extensive probe into Mosby's financial records.
What's the U.S. Attorney for Maryland say? What does he say? Is he surprised? Because I don't run the government. All I do is defend clients who are accused of doing bad things. I emphasize accused.
Mosby's lawyer also criticized the lead prosecutor who brought the case, Leo Wise, for donating to her political opponents. Wise also prosecuted officers in the gun trace task force scandal and Mayor Catherine Pugh.
The driver of the narrative, negative
Hey,
narrative,
XGN,
he
Hydro.
gives not once but twice to her opponents 4 years ago. Sees nothing wrong with that.
The U.S. Attorney's Office was closed today. They typically do not comment on ongoing investigations. Reporting live in Station North, Mike Helgren, WJZ.
Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby.
I'm waiting to hear the doorbell ring because I'm expecting a delivery. They say he's a couple blocks away. One hour ago, breaking news. This is the vehicle sought in the murder of a Philadelphia pregnant woman. That's the vehicle they're looking for. They're blocking the license plate number, so how are we going to help somebody?
More than 2 weeks into the new year, and the city is already on pace for more shootings and murders than we had in a violent 2021.
Yeah, at least 14 people have been murdered now in Baltimore, with 2 more men added to that list after a fairly violent weekend in the city.
All right, tonight, WMAR 2 News' Brittany Werner is looking into all what happened this weekend with all the violence we saw. Here we go again. Brittany, tell us.
Yeah, and we actually made a map of all of these shootings that happened over the weekend just to give you a broader perspective of where these incidents went down.
My citizen app go off so much, 500 feet, 200 feet, 80 feet. That's just too close to home.
We are only halfway through the first month of the year, and both fatal and non-fatal shootings are outpacing the numbers from last year.
It's overwhelming.
This past weekend, there were 9 shootings, which all happened on Saturday. The first call happening just before 1 in the morning. Police say near the 300 block of Fallsway, a 15-year-old was shot in the thigh. While they were there, an 18-year-old showed up at a hospital seeking care after he had been shot in the arm.
The crime in this neighborhood is up there.
A few minutes after 1 a.m., another call for a shooting, this time in the 700 block of Thames Street, where a 31-year-old was shot. And around 5 p.m. in the 700 block of Radnor Avenue, a 72-year-old woman also shot.
I heard about what happened. It shocked me. Being as though the lady's 72 years old. 72 years old, that's my grandmother.
A neighbor who lives on the block where it happened didn't want to be identified, but says the neighborhood is no stranger to violent crime.
I watched somebody get killed in broad daylight on a corner. A couple of weeks ago, the girl got shot right there, broad daylight.
And sadly, the crime doesn't end there. Around 9 on Saturday in the 2600 block of St. Benedict Street, a 60-year-old man was shot. And between 10 p.m. and midnight, there were 4 more shootings. 2 of them had no known location, and the other 2 were fatal. Near 900 Russell Street, a man was shot to death. And in the 2300 block of West Landville Street, another man who was 38 years old was also shot and killed. And neighbors say they are overwhelmed with the crime, which seems to be considered normal.
We just got to pray. Pray for our loved ones. There's a lot in Baltimore.
To note, there have been no arrests made in any of these shootings. And people in the communities are wondering when it will end. Today, there have been 14 murders this year. 29 more people have been shot in the city. Both are higher than this point last year. Police, however, are asking for the public's help. If you know any information concerning either of these shootings, you're urged to contact police. Kelly and Jamie.
It ain't getting no better out there, y'all. This is my city. The delivery driver should be pulling up any second. Let me play something for y'all real quick. And I'll run down there. Daddy, y'all, I'll be back. my hand ain't healing all the time. I wish I could have put the music on. Hey, go sit down, man, please. Stop being so nosy. Stop being a cat. Please, for 1 minute. Stop being a cat. For 1 minute. Damn. All right. That's all the grown leaves you get this whole thing. Are you serious? I'm not happy about that. Anything little. Good thing we don't check that. This is all thing gonna be nothing. Put it in there. We really don't need it yet. All right. Sorry about that. I was gonna play some music. It beat me to the punch.
Confronted in a random attack and left for dead. A horrific crime leaves the community on edge. They hunt for a killer.
Neighbors and even LAPD detectives are rattled by the brutality of this crime. The suspect later seen just calmly walking away. Good evening.
Marla is here for Christine Devine. Fox 11's Haley Winslow. She's been on top of this story since it first broke and has spoken to the family of Brianna Kupfer.
She's live from where it happened. And Haley, the details here are just heart-wrenching.
They sure are. And the devastation that her family is going through is absolutely horrific. LAPD and her family tell me that they don't believe the two knew each other at all, that this was random, that they think the guy was homeless. I mean, it really could have been anyone. LAPD has been back out here all day, canvassing the area, trying to find this guy and figure out the motive. Meanwhile, her family is trying to figure out how they're going to go on without her. Random, brutal, senseless.
I feel gutted that this girl her life was snuffed.
24-year-old Brianna Kupfer was a UCLA grad student studying architectural design. The Pacific Palisades resident was working as a design consultant at Croft House, a high-end furniture store in the Fairfax district. New York interior designer Lisa Finkenstadt works with Croft often.
Fox always got the good stories.
I can't believe the news. It's so terrible. It's really upsetting. I've emailed with her a few times. She's a good salesperson, and it's just really upsetting.
At about 1:30 Thursday afternoon, Kupfer was alone in the store at La Brea and Beverly. LAPD says a homeless man went in and stabbed her to death. About 20 minutes later, a customer came in and found her on the floor. Detectives say this is the suspect they need your help finding. Last seen on surveillance walking through the back alley of the businesses toward Oakwood Avenue. Police describe the suspected murderer as a tall, thin black man wearing all dark clothing at the time of the crime. Hoodie, sunglasses, skinny jeans, shoes, and his backpack.
Tall, thin man that won't get a job
mask.
and get a place to live.
Happening on Melrose, Fairfax.
Instead, you go kill somebody for no reason. Crazy.
I just wanted to be the way how it used to be.
Kupfer went to Brentwood High School and the universities of Miami and Sydney. Her dad describes her as their sweet angel, smart, devoted to her family, with lots of friends, big dreams, and her whole life ahead of her.
As a mom, just grief-stricken.
Kupfer was extremely close to her parents, her two brothers, and her sister was her best friend. If you have any information, please help LAPD find this person before he hurts somebody else. You can also remain anonymous and call Crime Stoppers. That number is 1-800-222-TIPS. Reporting live in the Fairfax district, I'm Haley Winslow, Fox 11 News.
Ridiculous. Man, that's crazy. Killed that beautiful young lady for nothing. Wait a minute. Is that the same story? Can't be.
Sandra, that friend and colleague, says that Sandra, or Sandy, she was known by her friends, so she loved her job as a nurse so much that younger nurses used to joke that they'd probably retire before she ever did. She also apparently went out of her way to help specifically the homeless population that came into the hospital, and that makes, of course, this news even more devastating.
She was just the epitome of nursing. She was kind, she was caring, she took her job to heart.
Days after a brutal attack at a Union Station bus stop, a beloved nurse lost her life. Sandra Shells worked at LA County USC Medical Center for decades, where she was highly respected and revered.
She worked so hard to do the best for our patients, and we have sometimes a very difficult clientele at our hospital, and she just took the best care of them.
Colleague Carol Enriquez worked with Sandy for more than 30 years.
She had an affinity for mostly our homeless population that we take care of, and she just made sure they were well taken care of, got them the resources that they need, got them the food that they asked for. She was just the most kind-hearted person that I've ever worked with.
In a statement, the hospital said, Sandra Shells will forever be remembered for her compassionate care and unmatched dedication to her patients and her community throughout her 38-year career at LACUSC. Sandra worked tirelessly and selflessly to keep her patients safe and healthy, and will always be remembered as a kind, compassionate, and giving nurse with a helpful and thoughtful nature who was a favorite amongst colleagues and patients. Shells was allegedly assaulted Thursday morning by a homeless man, now identified by police as 48-year-old Carrie Bell. They say he hit Shells for no apparent reason, the force knocking her to the ground and fracturing her skull.
Damn.
Police say they found him sleeping nearby about 90 minutes later and arrested him without incident. LAPD Chief Michael Moore says the tragedy could have been prevented, tweeting, "A tragic and senseless murder directly tied to the failure of this nation's mental health resources. We can and must do better. This victim lived her life for others. We are falling short."
People need to remember Sandy for the amazing angel that she was here on earth. And honestly, as a nurse, I have a lot to live up to be at her level of kindness.
Now, police say that Bell has been arrested multiple times in several other states. He has one prior arrest here in Los Angeles. He was booked on charges of attempted murder. Reporting live at Union Station, I'm Chelsea Edwards. Susan, send it back to you.
Confronted in a random attack and left for dead.
We begin with a tragedy in Brooklyn today where a 15-year-old girl was killed this morning while crossing the street.
Tonight, police are questioning a school bus driver accused in a hit and run. CBS 2's Nick Calloway live in Midwood with the details. Nick.
Maurice and Christine, right now we don't know if the driver of that bus was even aware that he had run somebody over. The girl was crossing the street behind me. She was in the crosswalk. She had the right of way when she was struck. Surveillance video obtained by CBS 2 News shows the moments before the girl was hit by this large yellow school bus. The bus was turning from Avenue P onto Bedford Avenue in Midwood just before 8 a.m. One witness who did not want his face shown on TV told us he heard screams and saw the bus drive away.
I don't know if he didn't realize that he hit somebody or something, but he kept on going and it didn't stop.
Police got a call about a pedestrian struck by a vehicle and found a 15-year-old girl lying in the road. She was pronounced dead on the scene.
A school bus? Yeah, it's really, really horrible.
The tragedy left neighbors here traumatized.
Definitely not something you see every day, you know? I mean, I've seen these sort of things before, you know, this is Brooklyn, New York. But right in front of our house, it's really, really something bad.
Police used surveillance video to identify the bus in this incident and locate the bus driver. The driver surrendered to police for questioning. Witnesses say there were children on the school bus when it hit the girl. And police tell us the driver was being questioned and was given a breathalyzer test. Right now, it's not clear if any charges would be filed. Reporting live in Midwood in Brooklyn, Nick Calloway, CBS 2 News.
All right, Nick, thank you. A tragedy in Brooklyn. A 15-year-old girl died after she was hit by a school bus while crossing the street.
Tonight, police say the driver told them he didn't even realize he'd hit someone. CBS 2's Nick Calloway reports from Midwood.
Surveillance video shows the bus turning from Avenue P onto Bedford Avenue. We are freezing the video before impact. One witness who did not want his face shown on TV told us he heard screams and saw the bus drive away like nothing had happened.
But this poor little girl, she was just a small human, and the bus driver probably just didn't realize that he unfortunately took someone's life with the way he was driving.
Police got a call around 8 a.m. about a pedestrian struck by a vehicle. They found a 15-year-old girl lying in the road. She was pronounced dead on the scene. The bus was gone.
A school bus? Yeah, it's really, really horrible.
The tragedy left neighbors here traumatized.
It's devastating just for anybody to hear screaming for help, and you feel so helpless, like, you know, what are you going to do?
Investigators used surveillance video to identify the school bus, and the driver turned himself in to police for questioning. Witnesses say there were kids on the bus when it hit the girl. Police tell us the bus driver was charged with failure to yield to a pedestrian and failure to exercise due care. He was ticketed and released. In Midwood in Brooklyn, Nick Calloway, CBS 2 News.
We begin with
Well, tonight we are closely tracking those key COVID metrics in Maryland, and they continue to lose momentum, and that's good. 6,500 new cases reported in the last day, but 60 fewer people are in the hospital. The positivity rate also dropped just above 20%. Meanwhile, many people still struggling to buy or schedule COVID tests. And to add to the frustrations, now hundreds of saliva samples collected at a Maryland testing site last week expired by the time they got to a lab in Texas. WJZ is live right now. Paul Gessler spoke with the testing company today and learn more about what happened and what is now going to change at that site moving forward so it doesn't happen again, Paul.
Yeah, all this because at the primary lab, there was a COVID outbreak, Denise. This happened at the Ripken Stadium site in Aberdeen a week ago today. Those who were tested got an email over the weekend saying they would not be getting their PCR results. More than 5,000 samples were collected from Hartford County's mass testing site last week at Ripken Stadium. Of those, 471 saliva samples to be tested at a lab expired.
Unfortunately, the PCR results couldn't be processed.
Aaron Poynton from OmniPoint Solutions told WJZ by phone an outbreak at their lab in New Jersey caused staffing issues. As the Hartford County Health Department website explained, the samples taken from Monday the 10th expired by the time they got to a backup lab in Texas.
Because of the differences in protocols between the two laboratories, those saliva samples didn't arrive to the laboratory in time to be processed.
Poynton says everyone tested that day received an antigen test too. So those in the dark on PCR results do have a rapid result. When Ripken Stadium's testing site reopens Tuesday, those whose saliva samples expired can return to an express lane here. They say they'll be doing nasal swabs this time around. And
Hello, can you hear me now?
Results. Poynton says its lab is on backlog, but techs are working double shifts. Public health officials say the demand in test is causing a delay in results.
What the delay in testing is doing is it's perpetuating the surge because it doesn't allow us to get a good handle on the virus.
This is sort of an unforeseen situation, you know, as the entire country struggles with this recent surge.
Now back live now, OmniPoint's rep tells me they are now using that backup lab in Texas.
Hello.
Primary lab. Meanwhile, that testing site up in Aberdeen will reopen to the public tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. For now, reporting live at 6, I'm Paul Gessler for WJZ.
Okay, you can hear me now. All right. Well, we having a problem. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but
New developments tonight in the case against a Tampa man accused of
we need an
plotting
Ethernet cord.
a terror attack. The FBI says he planned a mass shooting. His targets were in the Bay Area, and he was loyal to ISIS. But tonight, his attorney accuses federal agents of violating his rights, and they want key evidence thrown out. Fox 13's Gloria Gomez shows us what's at stake.
Muhammad Ali al-Zahari is accused of planning a mass shooting in Tampa Bay in the name of ISIS. Federal prosecutors say they discovered an arsenal of weapons and his digital fingerprints on targets around the Bay Area.
This is a motivated terrorist. Let's call him what he is.
The FBI says his ominous text messages reveal the carnage he planned to unleash.
He declares to a confidential source that he is indeed ISIS and carrying out jihad on behalf of ISIS.
But now his legal team is pushing hard on some of the evidence against him. In new court documents just filed, the defense says some of the FBI's surveillance tactics were illegal and a violation of Ali al-Zahari's rights. His attorney described a, quote, secret spy plane surveillance program that gathered 900 video clips of Ali al-Zahari. They say the spy planes had high-tech video
Tom, hurry back.
with high-powered lenses that could zoom in on people in places. Documents show he was followed, getting the mail, going to a medical clinic, visiting his sister, the beach, and work. The defense says the arsenal surveillance was unreasonable and violated his privacy, and now they're asking the judge to throw it out. However, federal prosecutors argue the FBI did everything by the book and want the evidence to stay in.
If he wasn't stopped by law enforcement, we may be talking about something much more serious here today.
The two will battle it out in federal court this week. Gloria Gomez, Fox 13 News.
A federal judge will hear arguments on the matter tomorrow.
Well, keep that sicko off the streets. Keep that sicko off the streets. 3 hours ago.
Doctor suspended from Houston Methodist over her views on the COVID-19 vaccine. It's a story that made national headlines. And tonight, there's a new development. Dr. Mary Bowden announced today, with supporters right behind her, that she plans to file a lawsuit against the hospital system. KPRC 2's Mario Diaz live in the Upper Kirby area with this legal move in his high-profile story. Mario?
Daniela, the attorney for Dr. Bowden, reached out to me here in the last 30 minutes. He says that the lawsuit has been filed. He doesn't expect it to post until tomorrow, though, officially due to the Dr. King holiday. But this all comes in response to what Dr. Bowden did 2 months ago, and that was speak up and question the way the COVID treatment and vaccination process was being handled.
Doctors can't be scared to question the narrative.
This is the position Dr. Mary Bowden says she and over 16,000 other doctors worldwide have had over COVID vaccines. Part of a shifting movement developing, she says, involving doctors who feel differently about the approach to early COVID treatment.
I think ivermectin needs to stop being such a dirty word. I don't understand why it's such a safe drug. I don't understand how it's become so controversial.
Dr. Bowden believes in ivermectin so much, she had her latest recipient stand beside her at a news conference this morning, fully recovered after recently providing her high-dosage tablets designated for humans.
The only people I work for are my patients, and I treat them the way I would want to be treated.
Now, 2 months removed from her suspension by Methodist and her resignation for publicly revealing her beliefs surrounding COVID treatments and vaccines, Dr. Bowden announced she is filing a lawsuit against Methodist.
Because they have not responded to my request for information, I've decided to take legal action against Methodist.
The case is to be filed within the next 24 hours, according to Bowden's attorney. And it boils down to Methodist not being transparent over COVID cases and the stats they have compiled involving the vaccine.
Two of their key core values are integrity and accountability, yet they won't share their data with us.
And Houston Methodist had no comment with regards to the pending lawsuit when we reached out to him this afternoon. Now, Dr. Bowden is an ear, nose, and throat specialist, but her practice has transformed a bit during the course of COVID. She tells me that she has helped more than 2,000 patients during this process. I asked her if she has lost any patients during the pandemic. She told me only one. Live in Upper Kirby, Mario Diaz, KPRC 2 News.
Uh-oh.
With that breaking news out of Westchester County, police responding to a 911 call of a man waving a gun suddenly find themselves in an exchange of gunfire.
This happened just before 1 o'clock this afternoon in Yonkers. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon is live at the scene in Yonkers with the details. Sonia.
Yeah, Liz and David, Yonkers Police Commissioner John Mueller gave us an update just a short time ago with what he cautioned was very preliminary information about what happened here earlier this afternoon. There was an exchange of gunfire after a 911 call, and right now a suspect and an officer are injured and in the hospital, and detectives are talking to them both, trying to figure out exactly what led to all of this.
Citizen app video captured the massive response after a confrontation between police and the suspect. A 911 call from inside 52 Main Street described a man waving around a gun.
At that point, officers responded. There were shots. We are still trying to narrow down who fired.
The suspect was shot once in the leg. He's expected to survive.
Our officer is not shot. He has a severe concussion and other injuries.
It's not clear how he was injured, but the investigation will look at multiple police body cameras that were rolling. The investigation will also take another listen to the 911 call.
This is very preliminary, but we believe that the suspect called himself about a man waving a gun around. So that also is interesting. We're trying to figure out, we have to piece all that together.
Yeah, police are saying they are not looking for anyone else, and it's not clear if there was a victim here initially, if that suspect was menacing anyone with a gun, and they have not recovered a gun. As of that briefing, they were still waiting to get a search warrant for the scene, but they have promised another update for us in the next hour on the investigation. For now,
Hey, cut off. Damn, sweetie, they cut you off, dear.
are stuck in feet of water and ice. An entire neighborhood block looks like a frozen pond. Right now, 6 neighbors are trapped at home because of this icy mess on one Detroit street. And that frozen stretch captured by Drone 4 is the result of a water main break on the city's west side.
Quite a mess. It happened on Harlow Avenue in Cambridge near 7 Mile and the Southfield Freeway. Sean Lay spent the day talking to people who just want to be able to leave their homes. And Sean, they did get some help this afternoon.
And the help is still here out on Harlow Avenue. However, it still looks like a river right here behind me. These crews trying to get the water level down. You guys mentioned the best way to show you the mess out here, we put Drone 4 up to give you this view. Take a look. Let's take to the sky with Drone 4 to give you this sweeping bird's eye view of Harlow Avenue on Detroit's west side. 3 feet of water turned to ice, spanning a massive city block. Looking at all this from her front porch, Rose Rogers, that icy water preventing us from getting over to her. What do you think about this icy lake in front of your house?
I don't like it.
You can see DWS crews are on the street digging deep to fix the break and eventually drain all of this water and ice. That's Rose's daughter, carefully carrying a baby. Earlier, she had to drive over lawns just to get out.
She backed back and she drove all the way down there. This lady did too. She just drove all the way down there.
Goodness gracious. Look at this red car here and this Saturn there. I wonder if they're ruined. I don't know.
I don't either.
Neighbors tell us the water started flowing into the street late last night.
Nah, around like 11, I seen it was coming out the ground. I just was looking. I just kept walking.
And the water rose that quickly?
It rose overnight. All this happened overnight. Wasn't none of this like this because my mama couldn't even get in the driveway. She had to drive up here and drive around.
Have you ever seen anything like this before, Rose?
No, this is my first time.
Back here live, you see the DWSD trucks heading down the avenue here through all that water. They're going to head down to the other side and start to drain water on the opposite end down there. And they've taken about a good foot of water off the street. That's the good news, but still, water and ice remain. Some people still parking in their yards not to get trapped. So it's going to be another cold night. This could be icy out here tomorrow. But again, crews working hard to try to fix the problem. We're live on the west side tonight. Sean Lay, Local 4, back to you.
All right, what a mess. Thank you, Sean, and thank you, Rose, too. We appreciate her work for helping you with that story.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I hope they got full coverage insurance. Some of them cars might not be no good.
Tonight, New Zealand is airlifting water and supplies to the Pacific island nation of Tonga following that deadly underwater volcanic eruption and tsunami. Communications with the island have been sporadic. Incredibly, no mass casualties have been reported. A British woman is the first known fatality. The tsunami unleashed powerful waves that traveled thousands of miles and flooded California's Santa Cruz harbor. We turn now to that major winter storm that dumped crippling amounts of snow from Asheville, North Carolina to Buffalo, New York, and left tens of thousands without power. CBS's Nikki Batiste is in hard-hit Rochester, New York. And good evening, Nikki.
Nora, good evening. I have to tell you, it has been brutal for my crew and I to be out in this wintry mix of wind and snow and cold all day here in Rochester. Pretty much everyone else in this area did stay inside today. Right now, I'd say there's probably about a foot of snow in this area, and it is still coming down pretty hard tonight.
Across the Northeast today, a wintry whiteout, as some areas saw up to 2 inches of snowfall per hour, making it nearly impossible for road crews to keep up. The storm pounded I-90 in western Pennsylvania with a triple punch of heavy snow, strong winds, and freezing rain. Utility crews had to help each other on the slippery roads. It was no different for several stranded drivers in Erie. Today in New York, Buffalo was nailed with more than 16 inches, the most on this day in 64 years.
Person across the street, they got stuck trying to get out of their driveway. So, we got to help each other.
In Rochester, these two residents had been trying to dig out their vehicle for nearly 2 hours.
How does this snow compare to what you might usually see?
A lot more ice than just like fluffy snow.
Today, more than 1,600 domestic flights now canceled, stranding frustrated passengers trying to get home.
Hope for the best and see if, a better flight opened up.
Before heading east, the storm pummeled the South this weekend. More than 600 collisions were reported in North Carolina, including an accident that killed 2 people from Myrtle Beach. The storm also knocked out power for tens of thousands, including this Georgia father.
I'm out there with the pot and boiling water to keep my baby's formula warm,
We're in the middle of a tornado right now.
In southern Florida, tornadoes touched down, destroying multiple homes.
It sounded like a racing train, it was really loud. And it took me off my feet.
And get ready because meteorologists tell us there is a chance of another winter storm along the East Coast this weekend from the Carolinas to New England. Nora?
Nikki Batiste, thank you for being there with us. We appreciate it.
Man, we got snow coming again. God darn. All right, hold on a sec. See. Actually, you're going to do it the hard way. Do it the easy way. Go to a news station in my city and find a weather report. I don't see nothing about the weather. Oh, that's 4 hours ago. Wait a minute.
All right, Bob, thank you. Let's see how things are looking around town tonight.
So our team of coverage continues with that fellow right there, Sean Stryker. He's in Baltimore County. Hey, Sean.
Hang on a second.
What's going on? Yeah, I can attest to that wind blowing. The flagpole behind me is getting quite the workout holding on to those flags. The wind is making it feel really cold here in northern Baltimore County. The roads right now are in good condition as they were most of the day. The roads were not a problem. Those road crews put in a lot of work. What was a problem? Power outages affecting thousands of people across the state.
Mother Nature just couldn't make up her mind, throwing a mix of precipitation at Maryland Sunday into Monday morning.
Well, last night it was snowing pretty good.
And then it started to rain.
Icy rain.
And I think then it snowed again a little bit.
With road crews working through the weekend to keep roads clear, wind and power outages were the big issue. At noon today, there were more than 5,600 power outages reported across the state. Austin Knights power went out around 10:30 last night.
Went out this morning. It seemed like every house plus quite a few streets down the York Road were out. Got home this afternoon, still not on.
For Knight, no power means no heat, a major concern for this father.
I got a 9-month-old baby, so we were worried about him and, let alone pipes and everything else. But, when you got a little baby and it's cold in the house, you start getting worried.
Luckily, they were able to take the baby to his parents' house. We reached out to BGE, who said they are actively responding to sites impacted by winter weather, but they couldn't give details on specific areas. For those who didn't lose power, it was a day to play in the fresh snow.
On Friday, we're prepared for this great snow that was going to come on Sunday. We were hoping for 6 inches, but we'll take what we can get.
Now, that's for those power outages. At noon today, BGE was reporting upwards of 2,000. At last check, just a couple minutes ago, that number was down to 1,000. In northern Baltimore County, Sean Stryker for WJZ.
All right, well. One good thing about not living in the county. Let me see if we got any good news here to look at. We already saw that. I thought I saw something. Am I hallucinating? I guess not. I thought I saw something. There it is.
All right, Mike, thank you. An update this afternoon. A shooting hitting a 72-year-old woman in North Baltimore. Happened around 5 Saturday night on Radnor Avenue. Now, WJZ confirms the woman was grazed by a bullet coming through a window into her home. She was treated for non-life-threatening injuries.
You went to trouble for that. That's cold. That's cold. Three hours ago.
Developing story on Houston's southwest side where a clothing store manager was shot and killed. It's been 48 hours since that violent attack, and the search for the shooters continues tonight. KPRC2's Devin Clark is live now on Fondren and Sanford where that shooting happened. Devin, this man really meant a lot to the people who actually shop at that store.
Chris, the support is on display out here. Pictures, flowers, candles, and a single rosary now decorate the shattered glass where that manager was killed. And earlier, I spoke to one of his best friends who says he was here and witnessed the whole thing and tried to save him. He held back tears recalling what happened.
Call 911 as quick as possible.
Keelan Kraft says around 7:30 Saturday evening, he came to this City Gear store on Fondren to grab a bite to eat with one of his best friends, store manager Ezino Ukachukwu, better known as Easy. They never got to break bread because Ukachukwu was shot and killed.
It's terrible. It's going to be bad for a while. It's going to be real bad. This is a real big loss.
Houston police say the manager got into a confrontation with these two males over shoplifting. They allegedly left the store and walked to this silver four-door sedan, still arguing, and one of them pulled out a gun and fired. Ukachukwu, described as a 34-year-old loving father of two, was struck multiple times.
Quick verbal, back and forth, then, hey, the shooting went on.
Kraft says after the suspects took off, he tried to use some merchandise to stop the bleeding. But by the time help arrived, his friend was gone. Now, Ukachukwu is being remembered by colleagues and mourners as a dedicated worker and a good man.
He was in here 24/7. Every time I came to work or I was on the side of town, I came in the store just to shop. You know what I mean? Came in here just to shop for myself. He was always in here.
He was really calm. He didn't bother nobody. He was always a funny guy, happy guy, lively guy.
Beautiful memories marred by a tragic ending.
This killing has to stop. I mean, you came and took this guy's life for nothing.
With some clothes.
And I just learned from his sister who showed up here distraught. The last name actually pronounced Ukachukwu, so excuse me for that. But we did hear from the company that owns City Gear. They say that they are offering their condolences to family and friends. Meanwhile, workers say that they want armed security at all City Gear stores. We will have more information on our website, click2houston.com, including pictures of the suspects and the vehicles. But if you have any information about this, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. Reporting live on the Southwest Side, Devin Clark, KPRC 2 News.
Wait a minute.
We begin this half hour with the investigation into a shooting that claimed the life of a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah, 3 days ago, Carissa Bright was gunned down while sitting in a car in East Mount Airy. Action News reporter Katie Cattrall talked to her loved ones today. Katie joins us now live from police headquarters with more on the young victim. Katie.
Shari and Rick, family members say Carissa Bright had a bright future ahead of her. They say she was a caring person. She wanted to be a nurse. Now, instead of planning for her future, family members are planning her funeral.
It's sad. You don't expect it. You hear about it, but you don't expect it to happen in your neighborhood.
Grieving family members say 17-year-old Carissa Bright was fatally shot on Friday night.
To know Carissa, you had to fall in love with her.
Police say the gunfire erupted just after 8:30 p.m. on the 6600 block of Ross Street in East Mount Airy. Police say the teen was sitting in the passenger seat of a parked white Toyota with 3 other people when a dark-colored SUV pulled up against the car and at least one person fired at the people inside, striking the girl in the head and chest. Police do not think she was the intended target, but someone else in the car was.
We just got a call and we just ran out of here like hell.
Chopper 6 shows the car the teen was rushed into Chestnut Hill Hospital, where she was pronounced about 20 minutes later.
It hit all of our hearts. It hit all of our hearts.
You don't kill an individual, you kill a whole family when things like this happen. It's a whole family suffers. And that's the worst part.
Bright's name fitting. Family says she was a bright light in the community. They are determined to never let her light fade.
She was beautiful. She had life. She had energy. You know, it's just hard.
And police say they are looking for a large black SUV, possibly a Lincoln Navigator. Authorities also say the other 3 people inside of the car with Bright were not struck. I'm live here at police headquarters. Katie Catro, Channel 6, Action News. Rick?
All right, Katie, thank you.
That's damn shame.
Developing story on
I don't know about y'all. I'm just depressed. So many people got killed today. It's ridiculous. So many people got killed today. I'll ask y'all for y'all help. Like I said, if you don't care, don't worry about it. $10.99 the lowest. Any used one? There's a used one for $8.99. It ain't showing up. $7.99 ain't showing up. $9.99 ain't showing up. Not showing up. All right, so the cheapest one is $10.99. If anybody would like to help the show out, I'll put it on the watch list. I mean, the wish list. Add to list. If anybody want to help out, you can go quietly get it off the wish list. But like I said, if y'all don't care about the show freezing, don't worry about it. But we need to directly connect to the router. We need to directly connect to the router because I watched the show today and it was freezing. Like I said, if y'all ain't worried about it, I ain't gonna worry about it. But if you care about the show, you'll help out. If you don't care, oh well. Ain't that serious?
A Roseville woman is formally charged in connection with the shooting of a 3-year-old boy.
30-year-old Jeanette Ann Smith faced a judge today. She has been charged with careless, reckless, or negligent use of a firearm. Police tell Local 4 Smith went to the Martin Luther King Apartments on East Lafayette Friday to visit the boy's mother and pick up some food. According to officers, she had a gun in her coat pocket and then left that coat in another room. The boy found the gun and shot himself in the head. He was taken to the hospital where at last check, he was listed as stable.
Man, more bad news. Don't you bring me, don't you bring me, don't you bring me no bad news.
Extraordinary satellite images captured the moment an underwater volcano erupted. Even in an active volcanic region, scientists estimate that this eruption was a 1 in 1,000-year event, estimated to have a force greater than multiple atomic bombs.
What you see also on the volcano is a satellite image with a massive eruption column, roughly about 17 kilometers high, give or take. Now, what happened in this particular case is that two very, let's say, unfortunate things came together, that the previous eruptions erased part of the volcano, so it's submerged underneath the ocean. And the other part is that magma that came up from the deep earth interior, it had a fair bit of gas, we call it volatiles, dissolved in the magma. And the combination of the two of them caused this substantial eruption that we saw in the recent days.
Following the eruption, tsunami waves crashed into the Tongan coastline. Warnings were issued for multiple countries, including the east coast of Australia, New Zealand, Japan, Hawaii, Alaska, and the US Pacific coast.
It is not really a usual thing for a volcano to cause a tsunami. Though first, of course, you need to have a volcano that is basically close to the ocean or in the middle of the ocean. And what you need to have is a displacement of water. So a tsunami is simply caused by pushing a lot of material into the water or replacing that material.
Assessing the extent of the damage to Tonga has so far been difficult, with communications to the area largely down. The Fijian CEO of Save the Children, Sha'an Ali, says they're most concerned about access to food and clean water.
What we are hearing from satellite communications is that a lot of people are in dire need of food and clean water. We do know that there are indications that the volcano can erupt again, and if it does, then populations and people who are living in Tonga, their capacity and resilience to be able to cope with another, eruption. We don't know if there are any deaths reported so far, and we hope that there has been none.
Australia has pledged support for the region, with the Royal Australian Air Force P-8A Poseidon departing Queensland today to conduct an assessment of damage to critical infrastructure and assess what further support is needed.
Everybody pray for them people.
Curtis Tui Halnia is the Deputy Head of Mission at the Tonga High Commission in Canberra. He joined me a short while ago. Curtis Tui Halnia, what's the overall sense you have of the impact of the eruption on Tonga?
Thank you, Laura. At the moment, it's a mixed feeling, not only because of what is happening in Tonga on the photos and videos we get to see online, but it's also the information that has been shared to us via the communication line through the Department of Foreign Affairs, which is the only way for us to gain information and to access information to Tonga. And unfortunately, it doesn't look good. It's a very chaotic situation in Tonga. Also here in Australia, where the Tongan communities are eager to find out what is happening to their family and also to know whether is there anything wrong or is there any death or anything that is might affect their families back in Tonga.
So what information do you have about what damage may have been caused and what injuries may be involved?
As of now, we have the formal information, which is been informed us that only the coastal line in front of the capital in the main island that has been affected. But we also have.
All right, sir. You putting me to sleep. I feel sorry for the people. Man, you putting me to sleep. I'm sorry. God damn. What's today's date? Ain't today Monday? Oh, I thought it was Tuesday. It is Monday. Okay, so got the Raw to watch. I'm gonna go watch the wrestling. I'm thinking it's Tuesday. I don't know why. I'm sitting there thinking it's Tuesday. Breaking news from my state.
Well, state troopers confirm a 21-year-old died in a two-car crash in Franklin County Saturday night.
Two cars collided head-on while traveling along US 1 in Youngsville. Between the two cars, 6 people were involved, including 4 children. All of them were taken to Wake Med in Raleigh with serious injuries. Troopers say 21-year-old Brittany Hancock died at the hospital, and 36-year-old Salvador Sanchez Aguilar is now facing DWI and felony death charges in connection to that crash.
This is sad. Whoa, what happened? Hold on a sec. Go back.
Well, state troopers confirm a 21-year-old died in a two-car crash in
Oh, it's 5 days old. I agree. Say I ain't gonna show this 5 days old. All righty, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Thank you for coming in, Chung Lee. I don't know where everybody else is, but it's all good. We still did the show. A lot of death today. A lot of people died. That's why I think that there was a good topic we had today. Why can't we all get along? I told y'all the reason I believe as we grow farther and farther apart for the values that Jesus and God want us to adhere to, we're going to continue this tragic slide. It's not going to get better. So a lot of you, let Jesus into your heart, mind, and soul. Drop whatever you've been taught, whatever you've learned. Let it go. Let him come into your heart. And let him work in you. When you do that, you won't want to commit evil. You won't want to hurt people. You won't want to disappoint those around you. Let Jesus go to work in you and make you be the best human being you can be. Stop listening to the media. Stop listening to your friends. Pick up your Bible and study it. Okay? Pick up your Bible and study it. So, all right, as Nia would say, see you soon. As I say, I see you tomorrow. As Chung Lee would say, don't forget the wasp spray. We out. Peace, everybody.